Alright guys, such a comic again today. Hope you're doing that and enjoying your day so far. Rostermania remains a slow burn for the moment, but some big updates did come through last night, especially what the Gentlemeats might be up to. It seems they're blowing it up from top to bottom, that organisation, and that means there could be some key name free agents on the market, especially Kismet. Where might he go? Especially given other teams, even top teams, might well need new SMGs on their lineup. And OpTic as well, revealing the comms from their victory at the Esports World Cup, proving just how valuable Huke and even Karma potentially was in their championship runs. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I greatly appreciate it. Thought it was pretty cool to see this in the World Cup as well. Esports World Cup Shotzzy Player of the Week, certainly for Black Ops 6 he was the Player of the Week, until the Grand Finals where arguably you would say Dashy was, well he did win the Finals MVP for good reason, the guy had a 1.5 in the Finals, but over the course of that week, because we know that a World Cup lasts for 8 weeks, it's a long tournament, and that's why they've got all these sponsors and everything like that, and of course for the Call of Duty Black Ops 6 side of things, it was a pretty spectacular event. Now we're going to talk about the Warzone stuff. Obviously Warzone's happening in Esports World Cup as well, but the actual Activision-led Warzone tournament is not looking quite as promising. We'll get to that in a second. Dashy says, I think I can't try at ages now because those major tournaments simply are not on the same caliber as the big ones that Dashy has recently won. Of course, they took down a major victory last season before then winning champs. This year they've won champs in the Esports World Cup. You know, kind of remarkable to think, right, that over the look of the season, it's crazy to look back on because after Major 1, Major 2, FaZe had won both. Major 3, Major 4, Thieves had won both. It felt inevitable that one of those teams would win champs and possibly the World Cup as well, but single elimination always threw a spanner in the works there. The fact that a different team came along and won the final 2 tournaments in a row to kind of, you know, just usurp whatever those teams accomplished on the year is crazy, and for them to go to 0-18 to this point is something that we've never seen before, and, you know, possibly we will simply never see again. So some pictures here of that moment, and we've got plenty to get into as well. I just wanted to quickly touch on this man here on the left-hand side, because there was this post that came out on the Reddit, and I don't really know exactly what the truth is behind this situation, but the feeling is that I think JP talked about it before, that he was kind of considering, okay, do I continue as a coach analyst for OpTic, do I not? Of course he does the stream and he makes some content as well, which is great to see, but I think we're going to talk about Huke, we're going to talk about Karma, but JP also deserves a massive amount of credit because every team that JP's been on, even the New York teams that he was part of before he went to OpTic, they, at least at some point in the season, were always very competitive. So it's always tough to, let's say, analyse the value of an analyst or a coach, but I think everyone, at least in OpTic, is pretty unanimous in their assessment that JP's been a big help for their success over the last couple of years. Now, of course, people will say, and for good reason, well, why would he leave OpTic, right? He'll just stay. And I think that would make perfect sense. Obviously, it depends what JP wants to do in his life and career and all of this. You know, does he want to just keep being an analyst year after year? Does he want to progress and do something else? Would another team give him more money, right? Like, it is another thing to consider. It always is a question that I wonder, for example, is this Esports World Cup's just concluded, champs just concluded. We always talk about, oh, it's $600,000 to the winner. That's 150 racks each, which it is. But where do the coaches come into that? I mean, it depends on the team, depends on what they want to do, right? But at the end of the day, the prize money comes in. The organisation will tend to take some sort of a cut of that, because if they don't, how are they meant to make any money, really? Then presumably the coach, especially because the coach was more heavily involved this event, they're actually on the comms with the team, you'd expect they would get some sort of a cut. So I don't know how the teams are going to differentiate it, and I don't really mind. And it's not about pocket watching and all of this stuff, but, you know, just from JP's perspective, with all the success, you'd hope he's getting well compensated for that. But if the Falcons come along and they say, okay, JP, we hear you're the best analyst, we'll triple your salary, then it's something that is at least worth thinking about, right? So anyway, just thought I'd throw it out there because it was a bit of a talk that, you know, maybe there could be some changes in the OpTic camp, even if it's not to their actual starting lineup. Daniel did a comment as well on the season that was completed, and as he says, you know, our EWC and CDL champions. I thought it was pretty funny in a way, just because, like, EWC was not exactly a CDL event. They were covering it, to be fair, and I'm not exactly sure what that relationship looks like, because Activision, Microsoft, allows the EWC to use COD as a game that's played there, and that was a discussion with other esports as well. And EWC were like an official sponsor to the Call of Duty League this year, and the CDL account was covering the event and what was unfolding, but it wasn't, you know, an official CDL event. The people that did the production for this tournament, to my understanding, and it was a sensational job well done, you know, not the same people that run the CDL stuff. The CDL, like, guys are also absolutely incredible. But I think for the World Cup, they've kind of got their own team that runs everything over the 8-week period, which makes a fair degree of sense as well. So, yeah, it's just interesting. The World Cup, of course, it's always going to be a controversial tournament, but as time goes on, I think it's only going to get more valuable in the mind of the, let's say, COD community. And frankly, given the current state of the COD League, we kind of need an extra tournament like this. I'm hoping next year we can have more in the actual CDL. I would love a world where EWC is now, and then Champs is yet to come, and, you know, where Champs was this year, we have a 5th major, that type of stuff. But we'll see what they cook up for next season and all that. We talked about JP, but I wanted to discuss what's going on in terms of roster developments last night. Not much has happened yet, mainly because the players, probably only as of today, are really getting back, right? Because they finished Sunday, presumably they flew out on Monday, and it's a long travel day, right? You're talking like a day's worth of travel. And yeah, when you talk about you've got to travel like 11 hours back in time across the globe in terms of time zones, but it is certainly a hell of a travel day for these guys to get back. I know that people were getting stuck in Doha, people were getting stuck in Frankfurt, people were getting stuck in, you know, Charles de Gaulle in Paris, right? Like, there was all these airports that there was some delays and issues, and I know that the OpTic guys have been going through it as well. They should be fine in terms of Rostermania questions, but other teams most certainly will not be. And we know that there will be some interesting things happening. What exactly that is depends on probably what happens when the guys get back, because I imagine that once everyone lands back in the States, then they will start to think about what they're going to do. I'm sure they're thinking about it already and the decisions that might get made, but it's not like this is MLG Anaheim. You go to the Hilton bar the night after and all the teams are set for next season already, right? Like, that's not how this is. It's going to take a bit of time. Now, Gentamates were out there and they got slammed, of course. I mean, even Thieves slammed them. I say even Thieves. Thieves are amazing, but not good enough, as it turned out at the end of the season. The Gentamates, they've done this roster overhaul. Vios is now back in charge. He was in charge before, a couple of years ago, when it was just LAG, and now it's LAG Mate, and they're still kind of running the same thing. I'm a little bit confused, but look, they've blown it up from top to bottom. Gataga made his thoughts known on the way that team was playing. Dareal, Marky B, gone. Vios is coming back in, former head coach of the team, to take over the front office and oversee all CDL operations. Now, the understanding is that they're blowing it up from top to bottom. So Kismet will become a free agent. They're basically just releasing the whole team. Lunarz is gone for sure. DiamondCon is gone for sure. Johnny, the decision on Johnny apparently is pending, which is pretty interesting. So, yeah, we'll see whether they decide to keep Johnny or run it back with him or not. But it's, yeah, they're just blowing up the whole team. And what Ronnie says is that Kismet will, as a result of that, be a free agent. And one of the more notable free agents, I would say, at that. I mean, there's so many notable free agents. And where Kismet will end up is a very interesting question. And interesting year for Kismet, because for a significant majority of it, he wasn't really, you know, that great, but also he was on a pretty bad team, and he was the best of the team for sure, and towards the end of the season he showed why he is definitely the player to look around going forward. Now, at the same time, you've got to recognise that at the start of the season the team looked very different, and Kismet was the man who, I wouldn't necessarily say he got given the keys, I don't know if that's necessarily true, but the changes that were made, I mean, Linz was gone, obviously FeLo comes in, Lunarz comes in, Priest is gone, you know, Skies is gone, and they make the changes that they did. You know, Kismet was the man that stayed, and it's not like the team got any better around him, right? So there might be a feeling there to say, well, yeah, from top to bottom it was a shambles, and it makes sense that they're just going to blow it up and completely go again, but does not mean to say that Kismet couldn't be a very valuable asset to another team. I know that there's talk about Thieves, there might even be talk about FaZe. I'm not sure that's quite going to happen, but I do think Kiz is a valuable player, and he's proved that he's certainly worthy of a CDL spot somewhere for next year. And Gentamates, what are they going to do? Are they going to go very much down a French direction? I thought they would have done that, to be fair, at the World Cup. I was expecting for the majority of this season that for the World Cup, Gentamates would say, okay, Linz, come on back in, bring in Cobra, you know, we'll just try and form a bit of, like, at least a half French team or something like that, and see how it goes from there. The other just interesting thing I wanted to throw out there is Legend, right? So OpTic Legend, a Halo player, he's made it clear that he's going to try and compete in Black Ops 7. Incredibly talented player. But surely Gentamates have to think about that. Of course, long-term, Gentamates want HyDra, and I would be very surprised if Gentamates aren't at least trying to see if it could work out with Legend, and obviously it's a gamble, it's a bit of a risk taking someone who's not played Call of Duty at that level before, but I don't know, I think Gotaga and the fans of that team, they would love to have at least some French player to root for and root around, and, you know, Linz it was this season, that didn't really work out. So I wonder what they will do, and also where Kismet will go. But I also wanted to share this for you guys, because OpTic came up with their comms video yesterday, and it was, well, some of these moments are pretty hilarious, like the Dashy throwing up the choke side or whatever, which was, you know, he didn't really recognize us at the time because the camera wasn't fully on him, it was barely on Shotzzy. But yeah, Dashy was letting his thoughts be known. But also Huke with some great comms, the way that they won the game as well, and even in the final like minute or so of them winning that final map, you can just hear Karma in the coaching role, standing behind them, just giving them a couple of pointers. And I think over the weekend, OpTic really nails that in terms of what Karma would say when he would say it. Just a couple of little things here and there, looking for Neptune, you know, they're spawning Lambo, stuff like this. You know, comms that he was confident would be correct, but also saying them very calm and hyping up the team when necessary. It all came together for OpTic at the end of the season.
He has to tell you. They have to ape. Yo, Nate is in her.
Yep.
Nate is in her.
What did I mean?
We needed in there. We needed
Yeah,
in there.
Really, bro.
I hit him with the nade.
You pot us.
Yo, take your time. Take your time. I'm pitching. Take your time.
Yo, in the bro.
Why top left?
No!
Baby.
Good
fucking
man!
goal. Put it behind us. We're good.
bro.
We're good.
Yep. It's literally fucking super and real.
Yeah.
Me, it's Miami. They play like pussies.
Slabs it.
Wait, he's big door. Both. One's in. I think one's in. He's close, right? Count him.
Wallow, we're choking.
Come on! Come on, baby!
We are fucking choking,
Come
boys.
on,
Wallow, we're choking. Not busted? Yo, Wallow, we're choking? We're choking like that? Bet.
Let's get it, boys.
We can literally do whatever. We can literally do whatever we win, I promise you.
Yeah, let's go open. Let's go open. Challenge him this.
That's a chomp. Go.
You can
Two
go
off
Sparrow.
spawn Lambo.
I need a ghost.
Yeah, what's right behind us, boys?
Close left.
So, can someone get new?
I got
Someone get a new.
Can someone get new?
Yeah.
Nep in 04.
There was two dead.
He's
secret. Miss one on
Sparrow.
Nep last guy.
Okay, they're gonna be
Yo,
you. They're
top
gonna
goes
be you,
down.
boys. Look at you on time. I hear it.
Yo,
he's bottom line weak. Top Abuzah dead. Bottom line Nastie weak. Bottom line weak, really weak.
What's out secret?
Okay, secret and bottom
Yo,
line.
he's really weak. Going P1.
Okay, bottom line is one shot. They're gonna be top on you.
He's there's it all. Back left hill.
Bottom you.
I don't see.
Back left hill. At least close enough.
Top close. He's still close.
Chow
time.
Yep, one's on time. Look at you.
I don't see
Play
him.
the halls in their
I'm chow
front.
time. Secret Nastie. Secret open.
Secret
Open.
open.
Let's go open.
Getting on time. I'm looking bottom you. I'm bottom you. Bottom you. Abuzah.
Let's go! Go fucking on, guys! Come on, back to back!
Just before we close up, wanted to look at a couple of lineman cards from the event. We'll look at some better looking numbers in a second at the end of the day, but these, I just wanted to go through a couple of cards that weren't looking so good. This was actually Cellium's, I think, lowest ever rated card, can you believe it? Still went positive in terms of KD over the event, but yeah, 1.06 in hardpoint, a 1.25 in surge, and a 0.86 in control was, yeah, not pretty for Cell this event, and yeah, 78 rated, just a tough tournament overall for that entire FaZe team, and also a 76 rated card for Dylan Envoy, maybe not as bad as you might have thought, because this event, he actually had a 0.8 KD, a 0.80, which was, I think, probably the worst KD of a player on a team that actually, you know, a pro team that at least made it to bracket play and stuff like that. So it was a tough event for Envoy, it was a tough event for Cellium, and, well, difficult event, of course, for both of their two respective teams. What are they going to do going forward? Big questions. Envoy, we think, is still contracted. We know that Scrap was gassing him up big time, so, you know, maybe Envoy's not going to go anywhere, but Cellium is a free agent, as far as we understand. If somebody wants him, they can just go and get him, and FaZe have nothing they can do about it. And, you know, what do you think about the Falcons? We're probably going to talk about that later on today. So very much interested to your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.